There's a really funny battle. Well, it's kind of funny. Maybe it's not so funny. So Cujo's actually partially deaf. Breakers in battles will go like this. They'll be like, you're not listening to the music. You're not expressing musicality. So there's a famous battle where there's two crews going against each other. One person kind of points at Cujo and they're like, bro, you're not listening. And Cujo literally goes, I'm deaf. So some of the way that he dances is like off the vibrations. But it's he's a good b-boy. It's a kind of semi-funny moment. What I think is funny more of like how he handles it. He's like, bro, I'm deaf.
Yeah.
I think he's partially deaf, not entirely deaf. But anyway, I heard that, was there something we should be concerned about with the wrist? Or the video?
No, the stretches were nice. And very well explained. The hum was for the extra bone in the wrist that suddenly appeared there. But yeah.
Yeah, the number might not be right, but the wrist, I was like, I thought these were pretty good stretches.
Yes, they are.
They're kind of uncommon. Like a lot of people don't think about stretching the wrist. If you're at a keyboard, like most of us are, a decent amount, or if you're in Blender or whatever, your wrists probably get really tight. When you break, you're doing so much, like, so for example, whenever you see me do something like this, I'm balanced mostly on so my elbow is stabbed into my rib right now. But most of the weight is on my left wrist. If we're not taking care of our wrist, it's really important. And there's a lot of positions that are compromising. Even when we're doing footwork. A lot of stuff is my shoulders are over my wrists. And you kind of want those to be firm and strengthened. When I first started breaking, I initially quit. I overdid it because I was training too hard at first. I was about 50 pounds heavier. And people have heard this story before. But it felt like it's a sledgehammer to my wrist. So I just took a break for a while. A couple weeks later, I returned. No pain in my wrists. So obviously, like, I had torn up these weak muscles or tendons. I don't know the exact term. I put a lot of weight on them. They hurt. When I came back after rest, they had repaired themselves so they could bear weight and stuff. It's like weightlifting. You might feel really sore. You take a break, your muscles can repair. The stuff that made you sore before doesn't make you as sore. So, that's a good warm-up. I'll send the videos after. There's past few weeks, I typically run the classes a certain way. Today we're going to focus on freezes first, because whatever I plan for later in the lesson tends to get less focus or I run out of time. So I'm making sure we do freezes today. You need to have them in your arsenal. So we're going to do pilot, baby, maybe chair, depending on how we're feeling. And the goal for today is getting sturdy, ideally in each of those. Chair freeze is a little bit harder. It's very tough on the wrist, so we'll see where we end up. But ideally, I want you to come out being able to do pilot, baby, the two forms of baby. And being able to go pilot, baby, other baby, and back. We'll see where we end up. If you're able to do pilot to baby to the other form of baby, to back, like, let me show you. So pilot, baby, other form of baby, back, pilot. If you're able to do that pretty smoothly, back and forth, congratulations, that's really good. If that was super easy, we would do pilot, baby, baby, chair freeze, and we go back the other direction. And when you're training, the idea is to do that both sides without your feet touching the ground, ideally. So you go pilot, baby, baby, chair, spin, Do pilot on the other side, baby, baby. Chair, spin, back. Becomes quite a workout. The way that we work out freezes is different from how I would have you do footwork. When I have you do footwork, it's very like 30 seconds of this, a minute of that, or like 20 reps of 6-step. In this case, we're trying to do probably less sets and reps, and you're trying to sturdily or securely hold the position. So now we're going to go over pilot, then we'll do baby, and we'll see where we end up. I may have messed up the order. If you don't see the well, should be black. It should start in a second. But make sure you click resync. If this is a review for some of you, that's fine. Feel free to throw up a personal mirror so you can see yourself.
How's everybody doing? My name is Vince Horiuchi, also known as B-Boy Vinsanity, and today we're going to learn how to do a pilot freeze. And a pilot freeze is one of the more common freezes in breakdancing.
You can try to follow along to the best of your ability.
So before we learn the actual pilot freeze,
I'll also go over it after he covers it.
help you with your strength and your core, and also kind of help you with some of the harder moves we're going to learn in the future. So this is called cricket position, and what you're going to do is start putting your arm in your stomach, not in the middle, but kind of to the side, and depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed,
You can do this standing or kneeling.
you're left-handed,
You're getting used to placing your elbow.
use your right hand. So what you're going to do is lean forward, putting your hand on both hands on the ground. This other hand is kind of to help you balance. And what you do is you lean forward, and
If you need to take your controllers off, that's fine.
kind of act as like a teeter-totter. So now we're going to try to go for 2 seconds. So lean forward, go 1, 2.
If your feet can't get off the ground, that's okay.
You're going to go one more time.
Just hold the position on your toes
Forward, go 1,
and go back and forth.
3, and relax. Eventually, you're going to want to be able to do this and have no trouble with it. You should be able to hold for 10 plus seconds. You can hold it on one arm, but you shouldn't have too much trouble with it. So practice that, and that's going to help build up your strength. Okay, so now what we're going to do is get into the actual pilot freeze. So you're going to put your arm to the side, and what you're going to do is you're going to lean over, putting this hand to the ground, which is going to help you balance, and you reach your head down to the floor. Notice that my arm is still in my side. If it falls out of there, I'm pretty much going to fall down. So you want to keep this right here in your side. So what you can do is you lean over and put one leg up and make your bottom leg straight. And this is pretty much a real easy pilot freeze. If you can get into this with no problem, what you can do is put your leg up in the air, and you're going to pick up your bottom leg. And this is a little bit more advanced pilot freeze, but once you get comfortable with the first one, you should have no trouble with the second one.
Don't hop until your leg's up. I want the leg down. I'll show you in a second. I want to get people out of the habit of like skipping steps. And here's why. You can technically, if you've already done this, you can go like that or whatever. Problem is, if you get in the habit of jumping into that and catching, it's you're missing the value that you get from building stability and doing the very basic freeze. I have a foot on the floor in the front, slightly to the front. I have my stab arm underneath me. So my elbow is stabbed into my hip. My wrist is in the ground. And then this other hand, I'm using it for support. It's kind of in front of my face, so it's not too far. You play with the placement. So our foot, so this foot right here is a balance point. Our hand and this hand. And a little bit of the crown of her head. And you just want to hold this sturdily. Then we go back. Because right now I even feel that in my wrist. And by back, I mean like you release the position. You can just sit. We're going to be focusing on freezes kind of in isolation. It's a little bit different when we do footwork or another movement and we set it up. But a lot of these today I'm focusing on just, I want to get you at the freeze. Some of the ways that you're going to want to practice is going smoothly from footwork into a freeze. The freeze is an opportunity for you to demonstrate control. So you'll see people do power move, freeze, or they'll do top rock, drop, footwork, power, freeze, and catch. We're just focusing on trying to get comfortable with this movement. If your wrist feels particularly cooked, you can rotate it in a circle. This isn't really tracking that well, but I'll hold my arm, my forearm, and I kind of do wrist circles. You can do some of that stuff that you saw Kujai doing. So he'll make a fist, I'll bend at the wrist. He puts his elbow kind of in his tummy, and he pulls it in towards the body. And that helps because I feel tight, because I'm going like this. So I'm stretching it the other way, if it's feeling particularly. So I want you to practice. We're going to go for like 3 times. Like a 3 to 5 second hold each time. We're going to do the pilot. I'm doing it on my left side. My tracker's right here. It's really hard for me to do pilot, because where I would stab is roughly where my tracker is. When you're practicing, not in class or whatever, you can try it in class, but I mean, at home, when you're not in VR, do both sides. So here, we do pilot. You hold for about 5 seconds. You go back down. Then it doesn't matter how you sit out of it. Go down. Wait a few seconds, and then do it 2 more times. I'm going to focus on you now, so I can give people maybe some feedback. If you have questions, feel free to ask questions. I really want to take my time with freezes today, and content in general. I think this is good. Make sure that that left leg is on the floor. I can't tell because sometimes it looks like it's floating. So make sure that if you're doing left arm is your stab arm, your left leg is slightly forward and on the floor. It's not floating. I don't want you to float. And then that right leg. So here, look at my back leg. So if my left leg is down, it's slightly forward and on the floor. I'm not doing this. The secondary leg is bent and slightly to the back. This is the traditional pilot freeze. It's very important to get the image right. All those details add up. So when somebody sees you, they go, you know your pilot freeze. The reason I say this, I was going over a chair freeze. I was technically doing chair freezes wrong. I don't really do chair freezes. But when I did it, there's a positional thing with my leg. And my teacher was like, no, your knee needs to come down. That's the chair freeze. I had the idea wrong, so I want to make sure I'm teaching you right. Quick disclaimer. I'm not saying there's one right way to do this. I'm teaching a traditional way. I want to make sure that I teach you the traditional way appropriately and correctly. When you're breakdancing and you're making your own, you can do whatever you want. You can make it your own, you can switch the legs, you can switch positions. I just want to make sure I'm setting you on the right path. Questions about the pilot freeze? It's looking mostly good to me. How are people's wrists feeling?
Mine are pretty gone, I'll be honest.
It's okay. If you need to take a break, take a break. This class especially, so normally when I run the class, the warm-up is I have you do 2 sets of like 15 jumping jacks, 10 push-ups, and 10 sit-ups. The warm-up for today was a little bit different. And since it's very wrist-focused, I don't want to gas you out by making you do push-ups. To be honest, you will eventually have to get to the point where you can do push-ups, you can do a bunch of wrist stuff. But thinking back to when I started, it felt like a sledgehammer hit my wrist. So if you feel some discomfort or even you feel a little bit bruised tomorrow, that's okay. I just would like you to be able to do other stuff tomorrow. So if you need to just sit and watch, that's okay. But I remember like, I just overdid it with my wrist at first. I was so excited about breaking. And I basically put my wrist through hell. So better we take our time. I don't try to guess you out. I'm not forcing footwork in. But eventually you will have to be able, you know, an hour session, push-ups, footwork, all of it.
So, so what is? I have a question. So,
Yeah.
what is the thing? Since well, the wrist is obviously not a muscle. So, what is the thing that is being strengthened when you're working the wrist?
The associated tendons, I assume. So it's not like we're strengthening the bone. It's really your extensor. It's the forearm tendons. I don't know the technical name. I know there's extensor tendons or something like that. But it's really those tendons that are in the forearm that, and you can feel like when your wrist is getting bruised up, or it feels like it's like, ow. That's the stuff that's like, we're putting pressure and we're working. Cujo said particular names. I just don't want to get them wrong.
Okay, so basically the caveman version of it is that is the tendon that kind of makes your hand go up and down.
Exactly, yeah. So these tendons are muscles along here and this stuff along here as well. That's the stuff that allows us to go like this. You can even, if you stick your arm out and you pull your fingers like this, not super hard, but if you pull them back, you feel the pulling along here. We're strengthening that. If you make a fist and you go like this, you bend at the wrist and you grab the back of your fist and you pull it almost like towards your chest. You should feel like a stretch along here. We're also strengthening that whenever we do a lot of breaking stuff or this free stuff.
Okay, so but just having like forearms like Popeyes, does that actually help this kind of stuff, or is mostly tendons that's being?
You don't need to have big forearms. That's less about like size of forearm muscle. It might be a little different. I don't know the exact like anatomy, but the muscle is a little bit different from like those tendons, I imagine. This bee can actually correct me. You're the physiotherapist.
Okay, yeah, well,
But yeah, they're good questions. I just don't know all the answers.
in wrist you've got the bones, then you've got your ligaments in there, the part of the joints, and then for you to be able to move the hand, the muscles needs to go from one bone over the joint to another bone, or sometimes it goes over two joints, or etc. Yeah, and you've got also nerves and some blood supply in there as well. So yeah, when you're putting your weight on your wrists, the forces are transferring a lot and putting a lot of strain, especially on like the how to explain this, on the wrists, like when you have your palms up, that part. Also on the other side as well, but this is usually the places that you can feel after a while when you're supporting yourself in that position. And to have the strength in your muscles is gonna help you a lot, because it's the weight is gonna transfer through those muscles and it's not gonna hurt your joints as much. So the strengthening exercises for your flexors, for your extensors, for the supinators and pronators in your wrist, in your elbow, are going to be essential, as well as the stretches, of course.
Awesome, thank you.
You're
That
welcome.
makes sense. So basically, strong forearms takes pressure away from the tendon. Yeah, okay, that's exactly the answer I was looking for.
The tendons are basically the points where your muscles are going to connect to the bone itself. So it's actually protecting the ligaments, the joint part, the soft tissues there.
Okay.
That's why you'll notice, like, especially if you're breaking or breakdancing, or it's one of your main styles, typically breakdancers also work out as like a secondary thing. They might do some with weightlifting or some sort of like body weight stuff to condition their body overall, because it certainly helps being a bit stronger. Yeah, I've gotten stronger as a result of breaking, but often when I'm even dancing in styles that aren't breaking focused, I'm strengthening my body by being on my hands so much.
No, I'm keeping it straight.
So
Okay.
Makes sense.
let's do a few more reps of pilot, and then we'll do baby, and we'll try to do back and forth. We'll do the free stacks. So 3 to 5 seconds. You can count it yourself. But the idea is you go from your position, you do pilot. You should be able to kind of snap into it fairly quickly. And I hold this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down. And you wait 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We go back into pilot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you feel like you're wobbling, adjust your body. Play with how moving your hand or your leg allows you to hold the freeze a little bit more easy. A lot of freezes are a mix of like minimum strength and then balance, how you stack your body over itself. Let's do the last kind of round of pilot. And you can play with hand placement. You can play with foot placement. And release. Good. Well, if you kind of like do this with your wrist, you can stretch it out. We're going to move on to baby. And at this rate, I think we'll have enough time to try to do pilot to baby, and then maybe the other baby. And I think next week I'll probably hit freezes. I would be doing you a disservice if you want to learn breakdancing or breaking. I'll take you to freezes for a bit. So a lot of my classes have been like top rock and drop and footwork focused. We'll circle back around to that stuff. But it's important we do freezes. Tim. Let's do baby freeze. If your pilot's feeling sturdy, your baby freeze will kind of come naturally, I think.
What's up, this is Vinsanity, and today we're going to learn how
You
to
should
do
see
this.
Vinsanity on the screen.
Now, before you attempt this, you should know how to do a cricket position and be able to hold it, and also a pilot freeze and also be able to hold it. These are kind of like the basics that will lead up to doing the baby freeze. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to go to the floor, and what you guys are going to do is you're going to put one leg in front, one leg back, and this arm is going to be on your side. This should be the arm that you do your pilot freeze and also your cricket position on. So put your arm on the side, and your opposite arm is going to go on your knee. What you're going to do is you're going to lean this way, and almost just like a teeter-totter, you're going to shift your weight to your head, and you're going to pick your legs up. This is your traditional baby freeze. Now, the second baby freeze is called the open baby freeze. And this is when your other leg is on. And it's almost similar to this stretch. So if you're having trouble putting your elbow to your knee, you can practice the stretch and kind of get comfortable with it. So we're going to go here, and instead of putting this leg in front, you're going to put this leg in front, and you're going to reach your elbow to it. You're going to reach down, and this arm is going to bend down to here. And from here, same thing as before, like a teeter-totter, you shift your weight over to your head and then pick your legs up, just like this. This is your open baby freeze. All right. A way for you guys to really strengthen these freezes and get comfortable with it is practicing shifting from one freeze to the next. So what you can do is start with the open baby freeze, since for most people it's a little bit harder. So you go to the open baby freeze and you shift down to the baby freeze and shift back up and down. And just by doing this, it's going to help you really get the freeze a lot stronger, and also allow you to use this as a move and variation when you're dancing. Right? These freezes both come from yoga. Their origin is from yoga. You'll actually, if you take like an advanced yoga class, they'll actually teach you how to do these moves. These are moves that have been done for thousands of years, and this is just another little piece of history that you guys should also try to do a little bit of research on, because this will really help you expand your knowledge of dancing and help you guys take what you're doing to the next level. All right, this has been Sandy. Peace out.
So there's a couple of things that I'll probably do differently from the video, but you get the idea. There's two different baby freezes. So he's teaching like this, where he sets you up like if you're kneeling, which is nice. So if you're already kneeling, I can put my right arm inside my right leg, and then I place my left arm the same way from my pilot, and then I just teeter-totter. So it's a nice setup from my knee. I'm going to teach you slightly differently, because we started with the pilot. So if you get into your pilot, wait, that's in the air. Oh my god, sorry, I'm crushing my mic. The leg that's in the back and is in the air, I'm going to bring it to the back of my secondary arm, my non-stab arm. If I'm doing... If my left arm is my stab arm, my right arm is my secondary arm. If you're stabbing on your right, your left arm is your secondary. So when we're in pilot, I just bring this leg, this secondary leg, this right leg in the air. I bring it on the back of my tricep. And then I lift this last leg. Breaking that down more step by step. I'm going to do pilot. So I do pilot. I bring this leg on top, the right leg to the back of the forearm. Sorry, not forearm, tricep. And then I should be able to lift my left leg and hold. And then go back down. So we have pilot to baby. As you get more comfortable with it, you're going to hop a little bit off of that frontward foot. So you can either step into it, or you can hop a little bit. Give that a try. If that feels really complicated or you have questions, ask me questions and we can go over it.
Stabilizing on the other arm is tricky. I keep losing balance on it.
Yeah. Who said that? Sorry. My FOV is limited.
It was me. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. So, and maybe Nova has some input here. Nova breaks quite a bit. But pilot, and I should, if I'm doing it right, I don't need this secondary hand. I'm not saying you have to do this. You don't have to lift it as high. You can just play with it. So most of my balance is here right now. At first, I just want you to get comfortable with bringing your leg to the back of your tricep. If that's all you can do right now, that's okay. You might need to find that you shift a little bit onto your head a little bit more so that the weight goes lateral. If it's left arm, you're really pushing your weight towards the left. By doing that, we're freeing up our legs. We're really leaning to the left so that there's no weight on the legs, but they will teeter-totter or seesaw. So you may have to really lean into your stab arm. Be okay with without doing the pilot or whatever. You imagine you're doing a push-up, but you're leaning to the side. So I have my hands like this, but I'm really leaning this way. If you don't lean that way, if you're we're messing with physics here. The goal is to lean to the left. If you even let your head go to the right, and if you're doing this on the red side, reverse stuff. So look, I'm going to show you something. My left head is on the ground. If I start to lift it this way, look at what my leg and hip starts to do. It might be very subtle, but it starts to go that way. One part of my body is fighting. So we want our upper half to be leaning one direction so that it makes space for the lower half, if that makes sense. I may have overcomplicated things.
No, I think so. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Nova, do you have any pointers?
What did you say you were struggling with a bit? I missed what you said. As soon as I start to put weight, as soon as I start to put my my leg on my tricep, that arm starts to lose balance. I just can't keep it stabilized very well. I think it's just a practice thing more than.
Make sure you're pushing with that right arm. If you stab with left, you're actively pushing into the ground. It's not just placing it. As you get stronger, you kind of place it.
Yeah.
But don't worry about your legs right now. But I'm stabbing, and this pushes into the ground. I should be pretty sturdy. As you get more confident, you can move your arm away, but really push into the ground. Get active engagement. It could be a weakness thing. Sorry, no, but you might have input.
Oh yeah. So two things. One is kind of engage your core and the outside leg. So when you put it on your other foot, when you put this leg here, right? That doesn't mean you're completely relaxing this outside leg. You want to keep tension in it so that this arm doesn't have to bear all of its weight, right? That's a choice that you make. So you can keep the tension here, because I could shift up and keep my foot out here. So that's just to show that it's possible. So when you rest it on this elbow, keep some of the weight off of the elbow. Don't just make it a dead leg now, because that's gonna make your arm have to do a lot more work than it would normally. And the other thing was you're kind of when you do yours and you're trying to pick this outside leg up, you're kind of hop into it. And like Ellie was saying before, if you force it with momentum, then you're not going to get the control, right? You want to be able to slowly lift this leg up and learn how to shift your weight from the 3 points of contact, which are your left hand, right hand, and your left leg, right? And you've got these three, and shift it to
If people need to move around to look at Nova, that's cool too.
head. Your two hands in your head now. So you've still got three strong points of contact, right? Because you can do this here while your head is up, and then you can swap, you can trade that leg for the head now, which is what's helping you balance. You should be able to literally just this leg that's on the floor, my left leg, literally just bend at the knee and bring it up, because you're balancing on the other 3 points. So it's not like a hop or push into it where you're forcing it. Just slowly take your time until you feel comfortable enough to bring that up. Because that's one of the things you were trying to do. But the other thing is, keep that leg engaged so that it's not dead weight on your arm, and that'll help your arm feel a little more balanced.
Cool. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you. So there's two things. Keep your whole body engaged. And the other part is, if you're leaning your weight in the left, there's going to be a point where you notice your foot kind of can gently lift off. It's almost like you're going from most of your foot engaged with the floor, where it starts to go to your toes. and you're probably doing it right when that's happening. Because it means that most of your weight's stacked a certain direction, and all you have to do is just lift your foot or bend at the knee. This isn't like a, oh my god, I need to like, who's an example? Atlas, holding the world. You need to like, it's not the same as like weightlifting or bench pressing or whatever exercise. It's really you're holding yourself. So it shouldn't be like, I'm trying to explain this. There is effort and it's effortful, but it's not the same as like when we're pushing our body, if that makes sense. It's more about like trying to find the balance point. I'll probably have a more articulate way to put that another
There
time.
you go, Bit.
Thanks.
But do it this way.
I can do it. Yeah, the other way I can't do
Go
it.
to the side.
Try. Yeah,
Like
Yeah,
do it from there so I can see it.
got you.
Yep. Nice. A final point. Good. You can let go. You don't need, what I don't want you to do at first, I don't want you to lift your legs too high. So there's a subtle difference here. And it matters for your development. So I could do that. What I really want is this. Look at how my hips are almost horizontal.
Gotcha.
This is for everybody. This is a subtle point that will matter for other stuff that you learn in the future. There are times where you're going to lift your legs. You probably lift your legs the way that I did at first if you're going to headstand. Like it all, everything in breaking, it depends on where you're coming from and where you're going. That looks good, Hyper. I'm just going to take a look at some of y'all. If you want some feedback, you can just do it. Actually, raise your hand if you want me to give you feedback. I don't want to like force it on people. But keep your hand raised, I'll go to you. I'll give you pointers. Just make sure you raise your hand, yeah. That way I know. Go for it. That looks good to me. It looks pretty sturdy too. So what you would do is you would go pilot, baby, until that becomes like, oh, this is so easy. Today we probably won't get to the other baby. We might try a little bit of it. But next week we'll pick up doing like pilot, baby, and then maybe a fourth phrase. And in your own time, you can always just add whatever phrases. If you don't really want to do these phrases, that's okay. Learn them. I personally prefer like shoulder phrase, headstand. So it's about coming up with combos that are good for you and that you like. I think holistically you should learn them to build your technique because it builds into power and other stuff. But you can just, train them, do some sets, and then make combos with other stuff and other phrases. Anybody else that wants feedback, just raise your hand. I want people to opt in. Okay. So tag log and then Kilo.
Yeah. I don't. Not really looking for feedback because I'm still kind of struggling doing it. I'm just wondering if you know
Sure.
any like specific advice if someone's like about like 200 pounds or 90 kilos trying to do the baby freeze or pilot freezes or like arm freezes in general.
I'm 100.
Kilos? Yeah.
So, you're wondering if there's ways to build yourself out to the baby?
Yeah. Or something about like I don't know whether or not that kind of weight makes like the fulcrum kind of different or I'll try doing it right now.
I will say there's like a Bebo that's like 300 pounds that does like air flares and other crazy shit.
Oh yeah, I forgot someone told me.
I mean, that looks good.
What's his name? Yeah, I just have trouble getting the foot over here because I feel like I can barely lift my leg.
Pointing the secondary arm more this way.
More
So
which way?
here's a general point.
Okay.
So, this is my secondary arm. Oh, I'm falling off balance. I can put it more in front of my face. I can make it easier
Oh, okay. Yeah.
for my leg to get to it if I bring it closer. So play with bringing it downward so you can shift. And I also shift my hips forward in front of me to meet my arm.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
Okay.
play with that. Because if I do this, I can do it, but it definitely requires a little bit more flexibility or shifting.
Yeah.
So
I
you would
need
bring
to-
your secondary arm down
Where your
and play with it.
inside knee
I need to do more
is
forward
on your-
stretches
is on the
every
elbow.
day.
Oh,
And
I can do that. The
what was
one
it?
I'm struggling
Earthquake.
with is the
Earthquake.
other one.
Someone told me about Earthquake, and I watched a couple, one or two of his battles.
Well, I
other one
bring
looks
the other
good.
leg to my.
It's Earthquake, and there's another guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
but I
There's some
was-
like heavier set b-boys, for lack of a better phrase.
okay.
show me
What I'm
the-
doing wrong.
I know
Can you start?
there's definitely a like
from the one that we learned.
body type that happens because of all the cardio, but there is some body diversity in breaking.
In open.
Now,
Would be-
you obviously have to shift stuff, but it's possible to have different body types and get it done. Definitely play with that second arm and bring it down, because by bringing it down, it makes it less work to reach.
Okay.
Let's pilot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, so that's where you're struggling. Okay.
Okay. All right.
It looks to me like
Whenever you're ready.
bringing your second leg in. Probably
Good.
maybe
Let's
too
pilot.
soon, but when you if you're
Oh,
done,
good. And the other one.
right,
Yeah, when you do that other baby, you'll notice you have to lift your hips a little bit.
leg in without
But that's
doing
perfect.
anything
Yeah,
else.
that's good.
Yeah.
So for you,
Try that first before you start.
now when you
the
go
other leg.
back, what you did is great right now.
Okay. So I keep the.
When you're training it, do
Wow.
pilot, baby, other baby. Go back to the previous form of baby, go to pilot, controlled. So it'll be 6 freezes, 6 freezes. And then you do that both sides. And the reason we do this is also, like, it builds the strength. But you'll see, sometimes I'll show you B-boys or B-girls, where a beat might go pop, pop, pop,
Right, and then
and they hit a
after
freeze on
you
each
do the
one.
second leg,
And so being able to control those
does that feel better?
while you're in freezes allows you to hit the beat in creative ways.
Okay.
So there's musical reasons to do it, and then strength and conditioning. But that's good. Good job. Good job.
Oh.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Nova. Holy shit. Okay.
Raise your hand if you want feedback.
No problem.
And if I'm missing anybody, okay, Daniel. You can also just call me over if I miss you.
Alright.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, I
Okay,
really
no,
have some trouble balancing
Okay,
this,
I struggle
from
on the
pilot
left side,
freeze.
to be
Like,
honest.
I can kind of 2D
Transitioning
Yeah.
from a close to
your
open.
daughter now.
Ugh.
I think, like, yeah,
I think I
okay,
just like
I can balance
strength,
in
or
my
maybe
head.
I'm putting too much
But
strength.
when I have to do like
Now-
the pilot position, I'm doing something wrong. What am I doing wrong?
You have to be, yeah. So when you're doing the baby, you're still on the side of your head. The way you just did it was more of like a headstand freeze. You still stay on the side of your head and baby.
No.
So you're not switching your head flat. So look, let me show you. My head doesn't move. I'm not doing this.
Let me feel the difference.
So my hand is
Mechanic difference before I say that.
Your head has to stay in the same position as pilot.
Side.
Good. And don't jump. Don't jump. I don't want you to jump into it. You're going to do this nice and slow. Just do this.
I'm not.
Work on the other side for sure.
So this leg, whatever,
You might have to give yourself more space.
whichever leg is second, just see if you can bring it
You might have to bring your hips up,
to the back of your, in your case, left arm.
so if you're
So your left leg goes to your left arm.
right to switch to the closed baby, the more you bring your hips. So if you pull, see this outside leg.
So I might be mixing up. I'm sorry.
a little bit, and you bring it up.
You're,
You can bring your
no, that's right.
kind of aside.
I want you to bring this inner thigh over here. That's okay.
Right, so I'm slowing it
Bring
down
that-
so you can see it. You bring
And-
it in, you use it for momentum to.
So this leg that's in the air is going to go here.
To hold that, it's a quick thing. It's like boom.
Okay, actually, that's
Right?
helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bring that inner thigh
So
over here
do that
on the back of your forearm.
more on your left side.
I keep saying forearm, tricep, sorry.
Bring your knee under. and onto
So
the
let
thigh.
this leg
This one.
come over here.
Alright, thanks.
Yep, you almost got it.
Right in the.
Yeah, give it a shot before we move on, see if it works.
Here's what we're gonna do. There's a couple things I'm noticing with your pilot. So if it's you're doing right arm.
Are you getting it? I can't tell.
okay.
Let me see if I can do this.
Yeah.
Actually,
You're getting it? Okay.
I'm getting it. Yeah, I'm actually.
nah, it's not tracking.
My knee on top of my elbow. Yeah.
So
Hey, that was really cool. Hell yeah.
Of course, of course.
let's go through pilot real quick. So I'm here. If it's left stab and your kiss is gonna be right, your right leg should be slightly forward. You should be like your chest should be facing this way and kind of open.
I was saying, did you?
So yeah, good. Okay. You need to turn at the hip so that this is more sideways.
I was looking at Layden's dead.
This right leg comes forward over here.
The
It's okay. Let go.
What's going on? I'm sweating.
Yeah, unless I'm mixing them up.
What you practicing?
Are you stabbing on your left or your right? I'm sorry. I have this thing where I'm mirror directions.
My left side, because my left side is the weaker side. Left side, yeah. Left side.
You're stabbing with left. So your left leg should come forward.
But I really want to.
The left
I
one.
want to practice more on my left.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one right here needs to come forward so you can feel secure and sturdy.
Practicing.
The weight is not
You got
moving
the
at all.
pilot, baby.
Okay, I took off my controls.
Might be where you're stabbing as well.
Going up.
So we're not stabbing here, not front. It's the side. Make sure you're stabbing to the side.
Probably do that
Yeah.
later.
So it's the side of the hip.
Yes, I'm trying to.
If you do it that way,
You might be able to.
this I don't know why he taught cricket freeze. Actually, I know why he taught cricket freeze. He taught cricket because one form of baby benefits. In this case, we're just focused on the side stab. So we're gonna do side stab, and my left leg comes forward and stabbed on the side.
Good point, because that kick up with that second leg that I showed you is one of the many ways you can use
And bring this, yeah, that leg in the air. Bring it more towards your butt.
from like lower freezes to higher freezes. Right? You're gonna have to take that
Okay.
leg and push it.
Good, that's better.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Okay.
But I
Good.
can't really move the left leg anywhere. Like I'm not getting the
Yeah,
balance.
it almost for me. I don't know if it's a tracking thing. It looks like you're stabbing this way. Like, look at my hips.
Yeah.
I want you to turn it so your hips are facing. Your hips and your chest are facing outward.
Why are you not doing it? I couldn't tell.
So not this.
I'm probably gonna practice.
Look at how my hip is facing here.
I'm still very new to headstands. I only
Yeah.
just kind of like understood it like yesterday.
It's a subtle difference. So try to turn at the hip.
Alright, cool.
Headstands. I feel dangerous when I transition to a headstand.
I have a related question on
Because I feel like I'm
stand.
hopping into it.
So yeah, for you, it's going to be about turning those hips so they're facing this way.
Gonna make it feel safer.
Right now they're facing towards. You're doing this. I want you to do this
You're gonna need to like
while you're in that position.
hop into it, kind of. It's not like a
That's getting better. Good.
is going to.
And when we get that really good,
What do they call it? A pop up. Like
then we can do baby a lot easier.
You know what a kip up is?
Thank you.
It could be a tracking thing too.
Of a kip up. The part of a kip
No,
up.
no, it's
Good work.
It's a meeting. I can't bring the balance there. But thank you for your patience.
That kind of mechanic.
So no, that's perfect. So here.
Your hip.
So for you, I would say you can sit like this or like this.
Alright.
And I want you to get used to just
You're here.
stab into your side
What I was saying before.
and lean.
You can see as well. So,
You don't need to lift your legs.
and this right.
I just want you to get used to stab and lean.
So this leg is important because you take
So you got to build comfort with that side stab, and then it'll come.
away. So
Yep, look at that. It's already getting better.
you're gonna bring it up. That's gonna give you a lot of the momentum to transition up into
Good.
whatever you want. And then when you do that,
And then you work on the other parts.
off of your staff,
You get that leg on the bottom to go forward,
to bring your
the leg up top.
so it's,
Yep, that's looking better. Just don't jump into it.
that's one.
Good. Good.
And then the
Nice.
stab arm. once
There you go.
The stab arm is gonna push.
That's good. Very nice.
Solid.
Thank you.
right. And at the same time, I'm
Got a
gonna
question on
lift my
stab.
Somebody had a question.
I can lift my second
Yes.
leg. and I'm in the headstand. And I
where,
can do that
so
very slowly.
where's your
That's
elbow?
it.
Is it
Oh my
directly on your hip bone,
Super
or are you putting it
control,
into
right?
more like your abs?
But if I were to do it
Okay.
quick,
This side. So
Are you putting it on the bone or on
definitely my hip.
on the soft
If I were to
tissue?
do it
Okay, on
quick,
the hip bone.
it would
Got you.
be like that.
I would say the hip bone. Sometimes, honestly, I stab into my rib.
Okay.
Oh,
It really depends, but I would say try to get it into the hip bone.
But
But
that second
not
leg
like
is-
the
For you,
abs,
do hip
So I
bone.
was trying it first, and that was terrible.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
If you
that's
try-
it. You just gotta make a little more.
So if you do
so you
this,
can turn it.
kind of like where a V cut would be or your tummy.
Yeah.
Cricket position's important.
that's good.
You're gonna feel bruising tomorrow, which is normal because you're getting the meaty
That's
parts of balance on a
obviously if
bony
you have
structure
headstand already. I wouldn't try that if you
with
don't
weight,
already have
so
headstand.
it's totally okay.
Bone,
yeah,
bone to
careful.
bone. Got you.
Yes,
Okay.
be careful.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
for these two who can
Cool, thank you.
headstand already.
Okay, I'm gonna check with this group. Anybody want feedback? I see Noma's working with you. What have you been covering over here?
Well, we went over the babies, of course, and better, different ways to get into them. But Sly and Ian were asking about using momentum to go from lower freezes into higher freezes, like from the baby into headstand. So I was just showing them what that's gonna look like, and which leg.
I like pump.
Yeah, that leg pump, yeah, that pop up.
Yeah, so when you're upward stacking, you leg pump. And literally, I'm able to go off the ground by pumping.
So I can.
And so that'll be good for windmills as well. Yeah, let me see it and then we'll wrap up class. If anybody needs to go, feel free to go.
And this is this
Nice.
is the closed baby, so this is not the switch where your knees on.
Floyd, I'm sorry, don't go. We'll take a picture.
version, right? This outside leg, so my right leg right here, is going to be super important in helping you use momentum to make space for your head and to bring your hips and your body weight upwards, right? So free stacking is not 100% about strength. It's a lot about technique and momentum. So you're going to take this right leg and you're going to send it upward, right? You're going to bring it in a little bit and push it up. At the same time as you do that, you're going to push off of your stab arm, which is my right arm in this case, and that's going to make space for my head to go under my shoulder or under my body. So if I were to do this slowly, it's going to be step 1, step 2, which is pushing off of my right arm, and step 3 is sliding my head under, right? And then from here, it's just a matter of shifting my legs, and I'm in a headstand. And again, if I were to do that faster, all at once, boom. Right?
cool.
Okay.
Oh my.
Nice, you unlocked that for me. I couldn't do that before.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
So you went baby, and then my left leg would go up,
Yep.
so I can go on the head.
And then you can come back.
Yeah. That's
And,
dope. Thanks.
one
I
of
didn't know how to do it.
That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why it's important to have your freezes kind of look in the stand. I guess the way that paint the picture that they're intended to. Because if you do a baby, like Ellie was explaining earlier, if you do a baby freeze and your legs are up here, and your legs are up here,
Exactly.
it's not going to look different from when you switch to this. It's going to look a lot closer, right? It's not going to look as dynamic as if you're coming from all the way down here. You're going all the way up. That looks way different from if they're on the side. Same with if you're like, you're here and you switch to this versus being like all the way down here and then switching out to his. It makes a.
We want those level changes to look really clean and transparent. Like, so sometimes people will look and they go, I think you're doing a handstand freeze, but I'm not sure. It's my job as a breakdancer to hit a freeze away where they go, you hit that. Not like oh, I think you sort of hit it. It's a very clean pose picture. Let's get together for a photo. I think there might be some announcements, and then I can hang around for a bit.